share?
Yeah, so see if I can get this Facebook thing on. The audio's live right now.
Okay.
Was you able to share it any?
I'll go back to it. If I could find the feed that went, if I could find the thing that went through my feed, I could have found it easy.
I think I can find it pretty easy real here.
I mean, I could find it on our page, but it makes me want to search for groups. And then when I search for them, it still don't have no results.
Let me try.
Like last time, it just popped up all the groups. And I could just hit share. It didn't even let me know that we were live. Let's see.
Yeah, it didn't give me a notification that we're live either.
I guess because we're the page or whatever.
Oh, because apparently I'm not even following my own group. Here we go. I got it. You won't give me no groups either, bro.
Oh.
They update Facebook and change it?
I'm not sure.
Ain't no one even find no groups when I type it in there.
That's what I said. Exactly what I said.
Like I typed the name of one and it didn't even
Yeah, I typed in Soul Destiny or whatever. Oh, you shared the post. Fuck, but it ain't letting me see it. I'll figure it out when you do it. When you go do it, I'll figure it out.
let me try and just share it these two places and then I'll get geared up. I don't think anybody's actually listening right now anyway. Hello out there. Anybody? I can do it manually as write post and then click from share to Facebook to in the group and then pick the group out.
You can copy it too. You can copy the link and go to the groups and paste it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's the other main way.
Quicker. I'll do that. If I can figure it out where it's at.
Alright, that's working. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 10. God. So, we're going to talk about what God is. Episode 10, there's a lot of back content leading up to here. I don't think God has typically come up too much in the previous episodes, but seems like a good point to start addressing what is God, not a who. One of my favorite sayings about God is trying to find God is like a fish trying to find water. You're surrounded by God. I'm God, you're God, the grass is God, the trees is God, the air you can't see is God. Everything you're surrounded by and you perceive with your eyes is God. God translates to I am. So you're taking an English word, a translation, which you got was God, and then you made it an imaginary man in the sky with a beard who told everybody what to do and knew what was right and what wasn't right. And so inevitably the main trick to this fucking illusion was getting you to look outside for something that isn't outside. You're not going to find God looking without. Any religious doctrine that's taught you anything about looking without and finding something that's going to come save you or make everything alright is straight bullshit. I like BS when referring to belief systems. Belief systems are BS. So it's kind of funny, how you could just miss one little single thing and change the whole fucking ball game. And so anybody that was trying to teach you to look without to find God, or you had to come through this priest or this sacrifice or any kind of outside pull, was the main disconnection from source or prime creator. You gotta watch when you address God, because we're all gods, and so if you pray to God, then you're praying to any of the gods, in which we all are God and goddesses. And so source, universal consciousness, creative force, prime creator, in the center of the universe, way out 3.1 billion light years from where we are right now, is light. It's the center of everything. It is prime creator or creative force. It is just loving light, So they were right when they said that the Father loves you. So when we try to externalize God, we try to point fingers for blame for who was to blame for all the bad shit that ever happened. And so the only thing we did was slip down the slope faster of the wrong direction. Jesus and Buddha and any of these avatars or enlightened individuals who's come to this earth plane to teach us consciousness, inevitably we messed up the story throughout history and kind of got it twisted. But whenever you step back and you look at all of the teachings from all of the avatars or enlightened individuals who we've been blessed with, you'll see the true message, the art of gnosis. It's all about the journey within. To find God, you need to seek within inside yourself. Because inevitably, your soul is pure, and your mind has corrupted that pureness by ego, with possession. Hell, even fear comes from ego. Everything negative that more than likely goes through your mind, if you trace it back to where it comes from, it's going to come from ego. And so it's kind of a representation of the death of the crucifixion, the death on the cross representing your body. And so to be born again, your ego dies, and on the other side is love and light. And once you kill the ego, you will be reborn, and you will address everything with love, your love light, or from your your Buddha place per se, or your Christ consciousness, or your higher conscious self, it's going to change the whole ball game for you. It's going to change how you look at life. It's going to change your actions in life. Like Buddha and even Jesus, they all had basically went on long journeys through the woods for like 40 days, or meditated for 40 days, and they brought their body down to a super weak point. Inevitably, they were seeking consciousness. They were seeking enlightenment. And then Jesus was enlightened. And so what happened there is, once you're enlightened, you can teach people that we're all connected, and your religion is BS, and it doesn't matter what your religion is. From what I'm telling you, I don't care what your religion is. Anything I'm telling you is not going to disagree with your religion, because truth is truth. If it sits right with my soul, then it comes out my mouth, and that's just how it is. I don't need anybody else to believe it, because that's kind of how it works. If you are part of a system where you're seeking out more individuals to believe what you believe, then inevitably you subconsciously know that it's a fucking lie. And so you seeking out people to agree with your thoughts is you trying to fool yourself, is your ego trying to fool your subconscious, which you can't do. Your subconscious is all-knowing. It's your connection to that love and light. It's your intuition. It's that voice in your head. This is your higher dimensional self, or higher ascended beings, or everything above what we are here, more enlightened, trying to guide you with your thoughts. Everybody already has the in the back of their head whether something is right or wrong in a way. That's called your consciousness. And so, you don't need a church for that voice in your head. You don't need a pastor. You don't need a priest in a box to tell you some Hail Marys and everything to make your Saturday night of drinking and enjoying life to be forgiven. It's all about the journey within. And so Edgar Cayce says Revelations is metaphorical for the process you go through personally on your journey to enlightenment. And so no, the second coming of Christ is not 3 years of peace on earth, 3.5 years of peace on earth, and 3.5 years of tribulation and hell on earth and all that blah 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 crap that has been forced down your throat. If people would actually know their history, they would know that the King James Bible, King James Version, please do not give me your version of shit. So if they knew a little bit of history, they would know that this Bible was a collection of Gnosis writings, compiled into a belief system to be forced down your throat with what started out to be raping and pillaging the entire world in the name of that very book. And here we are many thousands of years later, and for some reason the people who base their entire life and is ready to cuss and kill and fucking stand out in front of funerals and protest against gay people, they base their whole life off this bullshit, and they're so far disconnected it ain't even funny. And if they only knew a little bit of history about the fucking book they was following, they'd be like, fuck that shit. So you just gotta realize you all been lied to. You can find God within. You can find the God within yourself.
You can only find God within.
That's right. You're not going to find it on the outside by no means whatsoever. Jesus has taught you this. As a matter of fact, I got a little thing written down here. See if I can find it for all my Jesus buddies, because Jesus was awesome as fuck.
Yeah.
But your Christian religion sucks fucking ass. Jesus would never want you to worship him as a god. No such thing as deities. You are God, and you can find God. Where did it go? I know I write it down. Oh yeah, here we go. No one can enter the kingdom of heaven unless he is born again of water and spirit. John 3, chapter 3, verses 3 through 5. So, the kingdom of heaven is here on earth. It's in your mind. Hell is also, it's in your mind. So, if we are to seek the kingdom of heaven, we're going to do that by controlling our reality with our mind, our thoughts, and our perception. And so, this is how it works. You can't enter the kingdom of heaven until you're born again of spirit, water, and spirit. And so, a lot of teachings uses baptism, as they use this as a baptism, as you know, you're dipped in the water and you're cleansed. And then, you know, citing the Lord's Prayer, accepting the Lord Jesus Christ into your heart, all that good stuff. Well, this is how it works. You conquer your ego. You learn Gnosis teachings, which involves your body, your mind, and your spirit, which is the Trinity, not God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost, which I guess is true because you are the God. So God the Father, which would be your consciousness connection. God the Holy Ghost would be your soul, and God the Son is your 3D vehicle that you have right here, your flesh and blood. So your mind, body, and spirit is the Trinity. I remember being a young boy raised in Christianity, and preachers trying to explain the Trinity, and you can't really explain God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost when you're trying to say God the Father and God the Son is the same person. You're like, oh, I can't understand that because you're not God. Yeah, that's bullshit. You know, I've heard a reference as saying, you know, I'm my father's son, but I'm my son's father. That still doesn't make any fucking sense. What I just told you makes perfect fucking sense. God the Father is your mind, your connection to consciousness, Christ consciousness. Through Christ is where you meet the Father. So God the Father is your consciousness. God the Son is your body, your flesh vehicle here that you're going to use to connect to the Father, the love and light in the center of the universe, creative force, source. This is you're going to use God the Son to connect to God the Father. And then you have God, the Holy Ghost, which is your soul, your internal being, your essence that makes you God. You are nothing but a duplication of this loving light from the center of the universe. And so we're all 100% connected because literally when it comes down to it, there's only one soul, and that is God's loving light. And so everything is 100% connected. You are me, I am you. So when you learn that, you can learn to look at every person you meet as you. And if you look at that person as you, you can say, this person acts this way because they were raised this way and they handled these experiences this way, and that's why they see things the way they see things. Everything I've went through in my life to this point has brought me to who I am today, and I would not change it for anything because I'm very happy with who I am now. But even the most foulest person you could think of, due to their actions, you have to look at that person with love and compassion because that is you. That is your soul. That is no different than the you that you're thinking of in your mind. It's just they got to that point by a set of decisions or a life they were raised in and brought up. They're just disconnected from themselves. But that's you all day long. You were showed that for a reflection, for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. There is a divine path for you that you have chosen, but you're also blessed with free will. And so Prime Creator didn't cause any of the bad things that you've seen on earth. That's the magic of free will and karma. It's the counterbalance. So you have the option to be nice and you have the option to be bad. Your soul is pure. But are you connected to your soul? Probably not. If you was told to look without to seek God, you're automatically disconnected. Society has been based and designed for thousands of years to keep you disconnected. And then you got belief systems on top of it to keep you disconnected. And the doctrine of the school system and everything. The whole recipe is disconnection from truth. And so when you find truth, you're going to hear the same thing I'm telling you right now. If you look into older teachings, or you look at anybody who's connected to the grid these days, any conscious beings, you're going to hear the exact same thing in a different way. I'm not seeking people to say the same thing, but when shit's right, it's right, and you'll see it, and the universe will show it to you. It's affirmations, it's synchronicity, just like seeing the numbers on the episode I talked about. There's always signs and clues. The more you connect, the more you will see. It's just that simple. So I can't not see God. I open my eyes, I close my eyes, I still see what God is, because it's like the skin holding this whole experience together. It's everywhere. It's on the outside, it's on the inside. It's the air. It's the beauty of love. And so what makes the human experience so unique to all the other earth experiences is that we get to see the most of this beautiful experience, the earth experience, this big ass rock flying through space 1,000 miles an hour. As humans, we are very mobile, and so I would think it'd be cool to be a bird. You could see a lot of Earth being a bird, but there's still a lot of places on Earth that a bird's not going to make it into, caves or under certain shrubs or trees or different things like that. A bird can go most places, but still can't go all places. Well, as a human, and the conscious beings that we are, we've invented the internet and airplanes and clothes and everything else, so we can go see any part of this beautiful creation at any time, the most coldest to the hottest. Hell, we could even shoot out of the atmosphere these days, and or shoot other things out of the atmosphere and see even more creation. And the more you look into space, the more you realize it kind of looks like a giant brain. And so your brain is your antenna to the giant brain of creation. There's even proof that you're connected to everything all the way down to the scientific chemical level. You have DMT, which is located in your pineal gland. That and melatonin puts you in the dream state, and the melatonin puts you to sleep, and DMT is what's released during your dream state, which is more likely your experiences as other lives, because time is an illusion. So everything's happening at the same time, and so your consciousness is right now is in this 3D reality, learning this lesson that you're learning right now. but inevitably you're experiencing every other life that you've ever been at the same time. And so enlightenment, like Buddha and Jesus and these other ones, once they hit enlightenment, they could have just dipped on out of this third dimension and rose up to the other ones, but they decided to stay back and teach people the path to consciousness. So consciousness is the knowing of everything that's connected to everything. Once you become fully conscious, you realize that even your thoughts aren't your own. The consciousness grid is kind of like the internet. You've got all the information in the world right there at your fingertips. You have some things you choose to tune in by typing in an address, just like you have certain thoughts you tune into by concentrating. But then sometimes you go to, you're concentrating on one website and fucking pop-up comes up, or somebody else's thoughts pops in your head. You go into the store and you might have been thinking about something else. Might have got a bad feeling or a bad thought that in your head. More likely it wasn't even yours. It was just it was what you was receiving. So your brain is the spam blocker. If space looks like a giant brain and your brain is your connection to the Creator, and in the Bible it says that you are made in the image of God, technically that almost make your brain like it, it's the damn, this fucking space looks like a brain and your brain is your brain, how it's fucking straight up duplicated, right?
Yeah. Same thing.
Science just proved that your brain operates on 11 dimensions, which kind of seems a little off to me because I'm pretty sure there's like 12 or more. But still, if science is catching up to your brain being dimensional, then science is starting to catch up to these new teachings about consciousness and dimensions and ascension. And so karma is a wheel. Ancient Indian teachers teach about this wheel. And so if you do bad in this life and you don't pay for it before the end of this life, then your next life you're going to pay for that shit. And so it really can turn into a slippery slope, because if you're hit with these lessons and you don't handle them the right way and you create karma out of it instead of transcending it, then you have a payment. You gotta pay up to karma. And if you don't pay it up in this lifetime, and then the next lifetime you've got karma adding up, and then it could be even more karma and more karma. You could easily see how somebody could end up super disconnected from themselves and lost from multiple lives of wrong decisions, and not transcending and learning and seeking to be conscious beings. And it's all of our faults. You can't blame anybody, because if there's only one soul, then we're all to blame to everything that ever happened. So pointing the fingers doesn't do any good. You need to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not knowing. Forgive yourself for anything that you hold inside of you that feels bad or you feel guilty for. You got to realize you're just a human, and you come here, or you're just a human in this experience, and you come here with amnesia purposely so you can learn the lesson and have this a joyous experience of learning and enjoying creation. I mean, this was the whole purpose of creation. The only reason why Prime Creator duplicated himself or itself, it's not a him or her, once Prime Creator's loving light duplicated itself, it only did so it could experience itself. It wanted to experience love. And so this whole experience is about love. I can write you a fucking Bible and put one word on it: love. That's it. End the story. Game over, buddy. I don't understand Everything else is just a story to try and teach you to balance your chakras and connect with consciousness, connect with love and light through Christ consciousness, through nirvana. Oh, there's a whole fucking list of the same words that mean the same thing. Through Christ consciousness, through moksha, through gnosis, through nirvana, through waking, through bodhi. These are all the same things. This is all the connection within to prime creator, to your God within yourself. Namaste means the God within me greets the God within you. If people actually knew about Jesus, they would know that he was taught he went through all throughout India. He was taught all these things about the journey within, just like Buddha was trying to teach. Buddha wasn't Buddhist. Buddha was seeking enlightenment. Jesus wasn't Christian. Jesus was seeking enlightenment. He was seeking the Father. And so he was taught these practices of meditation and journeys out in the woods with nature. You really want to see God, for you guys who might have trouble in highly disconnected areas, especially you guys that live in large cities. Take your ass out in the woods for a little while. Go see some waterfalls, see the trees, smell that prana. Like if you walk out in the woods, that smell, that feeling, that vibration, that is what prana is. And so that shit changes you and affects you automatically. Nature resonates at 432 hertz. You have a frequency that you resonate with your thoughts. And so if you go out in nature, you're going to, in tune, you're going to sync up with that. There's a lot of knowledge out in the woods. Everything is conscious. The earth is conscious. We are doing horrible things to the earth, but thank goodness that the shift is happening and more people are becoming conscious because they feel the earth and they know that she's living and breathing, because the earth is the mother and the universe is the father. The love and light in the center is the father, and between creative loving light in the center of the universe and Mother Earth, you have us fuckers. And we're made out of dirt and stardust. So right on, guys. Ain't that pretty fucking cool? And so I could get down when the Bible says honor thy mother and thy father. It's not talking about your picked and chosen parents who incarnated your vehicle here. Is referring to the Father, God the Father, or the Father being love and light in the center of the universe. So our Father is love, and then our mother is the earth. And so honor the love light within inside yourself, and then honor Mother Earth, who has blessed us with all this beauty that we can share our experience and connect with one another. And so thankfully consciousness is happening because people is feeling what we're doing to the earth. The funny thing is, your guys' ego is pretty fucking big if you think you can hurt the earth. Yeah, we've done a lot of bad things, but you can't hurt Mother Earth. She will hurt you before you ever hurt her. Way before we could ever get to the point to devastating this beautiful living creature that we're living on, she would destroy us. It's just that simple. And so all these it's funny, all these guys thinking that we can actually do something. It's just ego. Yes, you are powerful and creative and you can manifest some things, but you're not gonna consciously be a baby and actually hurt Mother Earth because she wouldn't let you. Matthew 6:22 says, "Therefore thy eye be single, the whole body shall be full of light." And a lot of people might take this reference as like a third eye reference to your third eye chakra. But from some recent learnings, it's all about the crown chakra. That's why you've got a lot of references in the Bibles to the crown. That's why you see the halos in all the old pictures. Even the Bible with the 7 churches is talking about your 7 chakras. It is your body, your vessel, your temple. And so through other teachings, you will learn what the chakras are. Each chakra has an organ that is tied to, it has an emotion that is tied to. When it is balanced, you have a positive form of that emotion. When it is unbalanced, you have the negative side of that emotion. And so ego is what concentrates on this duality. Your body has a natural duality with your chakras, where they can be blocked or unblocked. But the ego is what is making perception duality. And so whenever you conquer the ego, you realize you have to get rid of the duality. Once you start residing at that conscious level, it's like a 0 point. Everything happens and you experience it. You don't fear what's going to happen tomorrow. The 0 point is just love light, and so you just try to vibrate at the love frequency. Love and above. When we're talking about frequencies, if you can stay at that love frequency, that 0 point, you are in the in the zone for creation. If you're at that 0 point, you're at that point where you are like master manifester. You're gonna be you're really gonna be at that point where your thoughts are going to manipulate your reality from day to day, from that Christ conscious point, from that that connective point, that Bodhi state. And once you get that connection, you're going to know what God is and is not. And so God is not a person. Heaven's not a place. Neither is hell. Heaven is a state of mind. Hell is also a state of mind. God is everywhere. You are God. Everyone is God and goddesses, and everything you perceive with your eyeballs is God and your creation, because you're a duplication of that prime creator. And so, learn the techniques of how Jesus and Buddha, and you have to do a little research. Thankfully, the new age is upon us, and so you have actually more real information instead of so much disinformation out there to find truths. It's one reason why I do the podcast, is to bring truths to things that I know. This episode was God. I don't really know why. I had seen a good bit coming across Facebook over the past week. People asking, do you believe in reincarnation? What is God, or who is God? And so here you go. You are God. Everybody's God. Yes, you are reincarnated. You are an eternal being. Your soul never dies. Energy does not end. It only transforms. And so science has even proved as soon as you die, your body loses weight. So apparently even your soul has a little bit of weight to it.
Like 8 ounces?
And is it 8 ounces?
I think it's like 8 ounces.
Is it 8 ounces? So So scientifically, a part of you leaves whenever this existence ends. One theory is, maybe you're asleep in a womb right now, and every action you make right now is determining what your life is going to be when you come out of that womb. And so maybe as soon as you take your last breath in this life, you could open your eyes out of your next life, straight out of birth. Most theories refer to going back to source and knowing all your lives and previous lives, and determining the lessons and the family and all that stuff. But I don't know, because you've got karma, and so it still could be true, because if you're enlightened and you know that you've done wrong as a higher being and that you need to learn that lessons, I could definitely see from a higher standpoint of saying, yeah, I need to go back and do this so I can try and learn this. And the only kicker is you get amnesia again and you don't get to remember. And so that's what's funny about the DMT. It's a chemical that's in every living organism. It's in every single plant. If you extract DMT and smoke it, or take other type of brew plants materials that have high DMT concentration in it, and an MAOI inhibitor where your stomach acid doesn't kill the DMT, most people have out-of-body experiences. They actually see what life really is. Or not really what life really is. Most people really showed that they're not just their 3D perception of themselves. These type of experiences, when people have these experiences, when they get done, they're done with everything. They're ready to quit their fucking job and fuck you to the church and everything else. That's just kind of how it goes. And so it's funny that DMT does that to you, and it's naturally in your brain, and then it's in every single living organism. And so right there is your scientific proof that everything is 100% fucking connected. The funny part about it is, if you extract it and smoke it, or if you take an MAOI inhibitor, so your stomach acid doesn't kill that chemical, you're gonna leave your body. You're gonna connect to your higher self, or whatever life that you may be having somewhere else. And so it's kind of magical that the body was made to not process the DMT that's in like lettuce and all the food you eat, because you can't play this 3D game of reality if you're fucking popping out of your body to these other existences. You're gonna kind of lose the amnesia pretty quick and be like, hey, something's not right here. Especially when somebody tries to tell you this is your only experience, and if you don't do right in this experience, then you're gonna burn in hell forever. That's just a fear tactic to control you like a fucking slave. Everything has been designed to produce fear against you, and all those things were used to control you and make you a slave. Religion and politics and all of it. Take them off. The damn thing went down. I don't know if there's anybody watching or any questions or anything.
Yeah, if you're watching.
Does anybody got any questions?
Is it down?
I don't know.
No, it's still up.
Is there any comments, questions?
Connecting to Facebook Live post.
Yeah, there's some comments.
Yeah. It's still live. I don't think it's working. Alright, it's back on.
Nah, it was just me trying to switch over so I could see all the comments and stuff without going to my phone. Or
Anybody got any questions?
Anybody got any questions? I don't know if I have too much more to say on what God is. I'm pretty sure I covered all the bases there. Obviously, we can go on longer about consciousness and all the paths of the previous avatars or enlightened beings that's come amongst this plane to teach us consciousness, and that we've made religions and everything and deities out of them. When you are the deity, you are the god. You possess all the same qualities of anything that was told about them that wasn't mythical, because part of it is mythical, part of it is metaphorical, and then part of it is literal. And so read it, digest it yourself, and believe what sets right with your soul. So obviously, most of what everybody's been taught didn't set right with their soul, because they had to get a whole bunch of other people to believe it with them. Because whenever you find truth and you believe it, it doesn't matter how many people line up and believe it with you. And so mega churches, people's anger issues when people disagree with their belief system, all these things is it shows that your subconscious is telling you that that's bullshit and that's a lie. And so that's everybody's ego fighting against their subconscious, trying to have a gathering around their belief systems to help try to prove to their subconscious mind that they're right. It's that same battle with the ego. The ego is what makes us draw lines in the land and say, this is mine, this is yours. Ego is what shows its possession. Ego is what causes war and famine and causes people to starve and all that shit. It all comes from ego. And so
we got a question. Sandy said, so I've been told I'm a grid worker. That's my reason for being here. What's a grid worker? What's a grid worker? Do y'all know or whatever? But I think she's talking about light worker.
Probably light worker. Light workers is anybody who is on the path to trying to seek the knowledge of truth. And so if you feel drawn to like working with crystals, or you feel drawn to like psychics, you feel drawn to teaching or healing, then you're a light worker. You know, you come here for this point in time to help heal and move everybody through this transition, because consciousness has always been attainable throughout past. This Christ and Buddha and Krishna and some of these other avatars who've been out here through history have connected to this consciousness. But what's going on right now is the whole earth is coming conscious. It's just this story that's in all the books. The second coming of Christ, the Mayan prophecies of 2012 is just all talking about the whole earth being able to ascend and become conscious. And so we have all these light workers these entities that's chosen to be here throughout history, especially like the last 100 or so years. 120 years has been the big cram, and then it was even a bigger boost like back in the 50s, which we talked in the previous episodes, the Star Children, were like the waves of entities. Well, each one of these entities were light workers. You know, they automatically seen through the bullshit, and then they elevate up through the three waves to the higher, newer wave, being the Rainbow Children. And so light workers is everybody that has been on that path of healing or teaching or showing people truth. And a grid worker, I guess we're all kind of grid workers, because we're all becoming conscious, connecting to the consciousness grid. Dolores Cannon teaches that some soul, everybody got their own path. Some people are here to teach. Some people are here to heal. Some people are here just to be here and vibrate higher. So a grid worker might be somebody that you're just here to exist. You still need to do your journey within and learn, become enlightened or higher consciousness or connect to Christ consciousness. But your path may be to just vibrate higher, and that's that would be one of the hardest tasks. Typically what happens with these individuals, they don't know what their path is here, and they vibrate higher. When you vibrate higher, you're going to resist lower vibrations, and so inevitably the earth has been vibrating so low, these people kind of stay to themselves instead of going out and help raise that frequency everywhere. I'd have to do some research on what actual grid worker, what somebody may be referring to as a grid worker means. You gotta watch at what people tell you. You are what you feel you are within inside. Somebody can tell you anything. I'm telling you something right now, but don't believe it just because I fucking told you that shit. That's the same thing everybody's done in the fucking past. You fucking take that journey within your own soul and feel what sits right with your soul. And yeah, it's probably going to be the same thing. I'll go ahead and tell you, but I'm not trying to sell it to you. I'm just trying to introduce it to you. I want you to feel it and learn it and know it yourself. Don't just believe it because I say it, because that's your next first step in the wrong direction. Just like the first step in the wrong direction was looking for God or anything like that outside of yourself.
There's a lot of information on grid workers online, but grid worker, I believe, every time I look up grid worker, it's connected with light workers too. It is light workers. So
that makes sense. Probably just another term for light worker. And so you'll definitely find a lot of information about light workers. Light workers are anybody that's kind of in the knowing right now. If you're watching this, you're more than likely a fucking light worker.
Yeah.
Because you're seeking knowledge, consciousness, higher frequencies, more information, truth, whatever it may be. Because you are doing that is because you are a light worker. It's your calling to know this truth, so you can vibrate higher, so you can help the shift, so you can teach the next generations, so you can feed the knowledge into the grid. All these reasons of why you chose to be here, and all these reasons on how you can be a light worker. Any more questions, guys? My phone's going good. Well, guys, if you don't have any more questions or any comments or anything else to address, probably gonna wrap this one up here shortly.
Kevin said it's so hard to talk about these things to people.
That's for sure, man. Whenever you when you start to touch people's core belief systems, they built their whole life around these things. You're talking about the structure of their fucking life, and so it takes some big ass balls to start.
And it takes work. It takes chipping away at it.
Yeah, it takes a lot of balls to start saying, "Hey, everything I was told was a lie," and it's very it can be a very painful process. It can be hell on earth, like I've talked about. Saying, "Hey, everything I've been lied to about is quite a shock."
And you also might feel alone. You might feel alone if you can't get enough affirmations from people around you. But trust me, they're out there.
They're out there,
and they're deep too. And it's more than you would ever imagine it was.
The more you seek that wisdom and you journey that path, the more you're just gonna be bombarded with synchronicities and affirmations. That's why you end up at that point where it doesn't give a fuck what anybody else thinks or believes, because you are knowing and then you're constantly affirmed, and so that just puts all the doubt and any possibility of being wrong way out the window. So yeah, whenever you try to talk to people and challenge their core belief systems, it's quite a task. So, it'll help if you learn other people's religions, or at least like a rough of what they believe, so you can learn how to approach that in a way to not challenge them. Because whenever,
at first at least,
yeah, I mean, if you come at them with love, I mean, can't nobody smash that shit down. I mean, I can talk to the most closed-minded person, and I can tell them that I'm writing a Bible and it's going to have one word in it. It's going to be love. They can't fucking argue with that shit. Like, what do you say to that? No, you need to do, not shit, love. That's what you need to do. You can't tell me any other rules that's going to tell me anything different than love. And so tell that. The most closed-minded person you think, tell them, oh, you got a book you live your life on? Well, I live my life on one word. It's called love, and that whole book says that one word. And when I process my life through that one word, it doesn't matter what that book says. I know where my soul is going to reside after it leaves this dimension. It's going to ascend onto higher dimensions. So you can let it to them short and sweet. The cool thing about right now is all these people's downloading information in their sleep. So even that person who's been very, very closed-minded, or may felt attacked by things that you said, then you will if you address the most closed-minded person and try and teach them that it's all about love, then they really can't argue with you there. Yeah, family is it's pretty hard with, but when it comes down to it, you need to be the most brutally honest with your family. If you can't be brutally honest with them, then who the fuck can you be brutally honest with? Be brutally honest with yourself. Be brutally honest with your best friend. And be brutally honest with your family. Everybody else, you can kind of sugarcoat it. People at work, stuff like that. You can try to understand what they were taught. Try to see their point of view, how they look at life and God and all this other stuff, and then see your path on approaching them, to seeing through your eyes. So once you can see through their eyes, maybe you can understand how to make them see through your eyes in a finesse way without shaking up the core belief system too bad. Sometimes all it takes is a seed, man. Maybe you just need to say that one thing and you might piss that one person off, but then 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years later, something come up and that spark or that seed sprouted, and then next thing you know, they're looking up consciousness or chakras or Edgar Casey or conspiracy theories or religions of the world or anything outside of their little box. Sometimes that one little seed, even if you pissed them off, that plant's going to grow later. And the cool part about consciousness, the more people becomes consciousness, the stronger the consciousness grid becomes. It's kind of same thing with your seed planting there. You put that idea out there to your coworker or your friend or your family member, and maybe they wake up, or you just end up planting the seed, and that one person wakes up, and maybe that one person does the same thing, and that one person does the same thing, and that one person does the same thing. It's a singularity. It's still the snowball effect. So even the pissing off the one person, do it. Fucking let your light shine, and don't worry about it. Don't worry about what other people think. if they bring up something and it don't sit right with you, throw your truth out there, drop the mic and walk off, you know. You don't have to sit there and bicker and argue with them. If they're trying to argue with you, their mind is open. You know, if somebody's trying to tell me about their belief system, I'm not going to argue with them on how I believe. It's not an argument. I might say that's not how I look at it and tell you how I look at it, but I'm not going to sit there and argue with about it. I'm not going, damn sure not going to try and tell you you're wrong. But I'm not seeking you to tell me that I'm right, you know. So if they get mad, I guess they were just seeking for one more person to say that they believe what they believe, because they don't believe that shit. Subconsciously, they don't believe it. So if they get mad, it's their ego fighting with their own subconscious. It's their own battle within. To each their own. You can't tell a baby it's time to walk since it comes out. The path is the path. You gotta learn to walk and talk and all that other good stuff.
You want to make the announcement about the crystal skull day?
Oh yeah. So
we got some exciting news for you guys.
I don't know if you guys.
News for us.
Yeah, it's very cool shit. I don't know if you guys ever heard of crystal skulls, but I heard about them about 10 years ago. Pretty cool little ancient crystal skulls. A lot of theories behind it. Also a lot of disinformation behind it. And so we're gonna have a guest on March 8th who has come in contact with a couple of these crystals. We will do an episode beginning of March, like right before that episode. We'll talk about the crystal skulls and the prophecy and all that good stuff about them. And then we'll have a guest on the next episode who's came in contact with them and has all kinds of neat and interesting things to show what they're capable of, and they're not even functioning yet.
And we're doing a mobile podcast.
That's right. We're going to come at you from somewhere else. So we're going to have a guest, and we're not going to be here in front of the throws. We're going to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
But we're doing a little more research. We've even kicked it old school. We done found us a fucking VHS and dug up a VCR and whipped out an old picture tube TV and watched a video from 1996 about crystal skulls, because it was quite hard to try and find some truthful information.
Quite hard ain't the word.
I knew shit about it like 10 years ago, and I swear there's more information 10 years ago than I can find now in 2018. And you got like National Geographic fucking big ass documentary trying to call it bullshit. And so that's fun stuff, you know. I like bringing truth to light. You know, when we first started the podcast or thought about it or talked about it, we thought it was going to be like conspiracy theories and shit like that. Little did we know that wasn't where we were headed. But the crystal skulls could, you know, there was a lot of theories behind them and stuff. But we found some truthful information. We found out how they're made and their purpose, and we're going to tell you guys about it. And then we're going to bring on a guest who has experience being around them and has proof at like the capabilities of the energy that comes off of them and how they affect people when they come around them. And that's just by being around them.
And our guest had their awakening in 1994.
94. Pam. It's nice.
What was that, 24 years ago?
Nice little lady.
Super nice, sweet lady.
Local. 30 minutes from here. It was random on how I was introduced to her, just like this freaking podcast is random. So a random connection to a random connection, and your first guest is going to be pretty fucking cool. One of the coolest people I've met so far is going to be our first guest here on the show. And maybe we can get the guy from who done the VHS that we watched. Maybe we might be able to get him on the show.
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
Reach out.
See what we can do. Reach out and see if he's interested.
Yeah.
We're reaching out, and then we're gonna start fucking driving out. We're gonna go 2 people if we got to. If I gotta go to you to have you on the show and talk about some cool shit, then we'll do it. Whatevs.
Yep.
Shit. We're going to do an episode in front of pyramids one day, guys. It's going to be fucking pyramids behind us, and we're going to talk about Egypt or some shit. I don't know. But it's going down. Does anybody's got any questions or anything on there, Alex?
No, just correlating.
Correlating.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going good. It's getting even better. It's gonna get even better.
That's right. I'm learning my master manifestation techniques.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited at what I can conjure up for my future. Now I want to help people. You might hear me say love light a lot because that is my new coin term. We're going to start non-profit, church, something. I don't know what the hell we're going to call it yet as far as the rest of the name, but I know I'm creating something to help people. It's called Love Light, whether it be Love Light Sanctuary, Love Light Mission, Love Light Center, Love Light Healing, who knows.
Yeah.
But we're going to bring people in and help rehabilitate people. We're going to learn new and old age techniques of healing people, whether it's hypnosis or quantum healing hypnosis or herbs, ancient herbs from like Brazil or Native Americans or maybe energy work, Kundalini energy, whatever that's not pharmaceutical bullshit.
Yeah. An holistic approach.
It's a holistic approach, we're going to...
all natural, no pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, we're going to start the path of help healing the earth and the people that's left here with Love Light, the Love Light Sanctuary. So that's one of the things I'm manifesting this podcast here, manifesting going to Brazil, manifesting doing a podcast in front of the pyramids, and so you guys will see on how awesome it'll be.
We're probably going to get one. We're going to get one in the Rocky Mountains too this year.
Rocky Mountains, yeah.
Yeah.
We need to do a podcast from Mountain Light too.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that too.
Heck yeah,
For
it'd be
sure.
pretty sweet. Like maybe
We'll
with
do that
the
in next few
crystal
weeks.
grid behind it or some shit.
Yeah.
Go sit on the grass, Indian style, and do a podcast.
Yeah.
So guys, I hope I was able to break down what God is, and you realize that you're all God and goddesses in this grand experience, and that we're all just a duplication of love and light from the center of the universe, which is prime creator or creative force, universal consciousness or source, whatever name you want to give it. It's nothing but a light all the way out in the center, and it's love, and you are nothing but a duplication of it. It's about as simple as it gets. So you guys, take that journey within, do some meditating, do some researching, some philosophizing, go down that Gnostic path, seek gnosis, seek knowledge, seek truth within yourself.
I love y'all.
Love all you guys. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/higherfrequenciesnc. Check us out on our webpage, higherfrequencies5d.com. All the podcasts are on our website. They're on the Facebook page and they're on the YouTube. You can listen to the audio on iTunes for free. You can listen to the audio on Google Play for free, or you can download the audio from the website. So check us out wherever you can. Share us with your friends, all that good stuff. And I'm glad you guys tuned in tonight, and tune in soon for whatever's next to come. Peace and love. Namaste.
Peace.